Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic Class Non Classics. This is episode number 1982 and Doubleshot number 1876. I have roughly one Marvel trade, one D trade. Now, this Marvel trade is actually the second last trade to collect issues for the first volume for the series by Gerry Dugan. It's Marauders. It's been a while since I reviewed this one. I think the last time I reviewed Marauders was probably X of Swords. Yep, and this comes right afterwards. After that. This book contains issues 16 and 20 of the first volume Marauders and the King of Black Marauders one-shot. The King of Black Marauders, it's simple what basically the Marauders have to do during the events of King of Black. But in the case of the main story itself, mostly put it just basically have two characters prior to events of the series who downright hated each other, Emma Frost and Kitty Pryde. Now, the way Gerry Dugan is implying this series, it's implying these two are more than close acquaintances. My theory is that these two might be a lesbian couple. Maybe. But they don't go into detail with that. They just hold hands. And what do they do the first half of the story? Well, pretty much the whole thing. Beat the crap out of Sebastian Shaw. And basically force him to remove from the Hellfire Corporation for the attempted murder of Kitty Pryde. Actually, the murder of Kitty Pryde, though she came back anyways. And kind of in the way he's been responsible for preventing her from coming to Krakatoa. Okay. But yeah. Pretty much in the way we were preparing for the Hellfire Gala. Now, you might be curious though, do they remove people from the roster as the main X1? Yes, they do. Which ones? I'm not going to say which ones. I'll probably review that in the future. Now, this book is still pretty good. I still enjoy the Marauders. Yes, the book did get relaunched at the start of this year. Surprisingly, 1 month later, it's actually one of 2 books that Gerry Dugan's get relaunched this year. The other, of course, being Savage Avengers, by the way, give this book a 9.5 out of 10. The other being Savage Avengers, with completely different writers. And they both ended at the same time. December of last year. And they both basically are relaunched. Marauders got its first released in January of this year. Savage Avengers didn't get its first issue of its relaunch until May. Why in the world they waited 5 months for the relaunch? I have no idea. Kind of strange though the fact that Marvel would hit the restart button on one of the most, in my opinion, probably one of the most popular titles Marvel putting out right now. Yes, but it seems as though this year alone, like we've had a few different relaunches. Now I have heard also that with the conclusion of the most current volume of Iron Man, Gerry Dugan is taking over as the writer of the series. Which means, if you think about it, Gerry Dugan is writing 2 series. Well, right now, I think he's writing 1, as far as I can tell. I think the only book he's writing now is X-Men, and there's no signs that ending anytime soon. So, they decided to give him Iron Man. And it seems like, though, they get like a lot of books. Since he's been at Marvel, he's done Deadpool. He's done issues of Spider-Man Deadpool. He's done Guardians of the Galaxy. Nova, the Sam Alexander, mind you. Let's see. This book, X-Men, and now Iron Man. Iron Man, I think, is probably his 8th series he's worked on. Because he also worked on Seven Adventures as well. Yeah. But aside from having him on the writing here, the artwork is mostly done by a couple different artists in here. Actually, 3 different artists. Luke Ross is the King Black one-shot. Sylvia Steele, this is issues 16, 18, 20. 18 is also kind of a Matteo Loli. 17 is the only issue of this whole book not done by Sylvia Caselli. Don't know why. But yeah, that's basically what it is. The cover is done by Russell Determined and Matthew Wilson. Russell Determined, you don't recognize that name? Yeah, this is the artist from this is actually one of the artists from Jason Aaron's run for Thor. Yes, I believe this was the artist for his Jane Foster run. Yep. Alright, next up is a book that I had always wanted to talk about in this review series since I first heard of this series a few years ago. The Terrifics. This is Volume 1, Meet the Terrifics, written by Jeff Lemire. Interesting. And he's reunited with his Justice League United artist, Ivan Reyes. Now, here's the strange thing about this book. This, with like pretty much almost every single book part of the New Age Hero line of books, with the exception of Hawkman, that's the only one to not basically suffer this, or by issue 3, the original artist leaves. And where's Ibrius go? Oh, he goes over to Brian Michael Bendis' Superman. Why? Don't know why. Ivan Reyes, if you're not familiar with this guy was one of the 2 most prolific artists of Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run. And as a matter of fact, this is the artist behind the critically acclaimed Blackest Night event, which is awesome, by the way. Yep, meet the Terrifics. Basically, you can kind of think of basically the Terrifics as DC's take on the Fantastic Four, even though they already have one. It's called The Challengers of the Unknown. And yet they had the Challengers of the Unknown book, which called New Challengers, but got to access the 5 issues due to low sales. This book in particular, this you might find interesting. Did you know this actually is one of 3 books to last more than 12 or 13 issues? You're thinking, really? Yeah, really. The other 2 titles being Hawkman and The Silencer. Yep. Now, meet the Terrifics. Basically, yeah, Mr. Terrific, this is, of course, events of Dark Knight Metal, the original event, not Death Metal. Well, he's come back to Earth Prime after spending time on Earth 2. Now, one thing that not even Scott Snyder is bothered to explain this, how in the world he got back from Earth 2? Because he was in the Earth 2 Society book, and then, like, when the book ended, it's like nothing would do with Mr. Terrific, and then he shows up in Dark Knight Metal, where he's back in his pre-Flashpoint attire. Yeah, this is completely baffling. Like, if you look at his first book under the current continuity, he wore a completely different attire. Sleeveless, with a T tattoo on, and also, for some reason, Power Girl was his girlfriend. Yeah, I thought this was kind of weird. And also, this also was really weird. Apparently, the relationship was completely ignored in Earth 2. It's like, it's brought up in Mr. Terrific's book, and then basically pops up in Earth 2. No mention of it. So in this book, he's working with... Now, he's basically brought to his company. Now, apparently, when he was gone, apparently Simon Stagg bought Terrific Enterprises. Don't know why. And even he questions the basic... He even calls Simon Stagg constantly in this book a frickin' thief for stealing his damn company. And Simon's like, I bought your company legally. And this is a common argument between the 2 throughout this whole series. Now, he's joined this book by Metamorpho. Yep, Metamorpho, who apparently, here's the thing. Simon Stagg wanted to open up a portal to the dark multiverse for some reason. Don't know why. And, of course, Mr. Terrific brought along Plastic Man. Because, of course, got involved Plastic Man. I believe this is also the first book he's been involved with in years. Because here's the strange thing. I think he may have been... he was briefly mentioned in the first issue of Justice International by Janet Jurgens in the current continuity. But aside from that one mention, back in 2011, there was nothing for him for 7 years until he popped up in Dark Knight Metal where he's a freaking egg. And apparently he was egg for a few years. And he saw on the phone with somebody, it was actually his wife. And in this book, they run into Phantom Girl. Yes, from the Legion of Superheroes. Now, they get caught up in Dark Multiverse stuff, and then they get a message. Supposedly, I think it's from her. Nope, it's from Tom Strong from America Best Comics. Yes, we're looking for Tom Strong for some reason. Now, you're probably thinking, who the heck is Tom Strong? He's an Alan Moore character who is basically his take on Superman. If he was an adventurer and had a full-fledged family. That's what Tom Strong is. Yeah, this was complete random. I get Mr. Terrific not knowing who the heck Tom Strong is. ABC Comics, known as America Best Comics, was a company formed by Alan Moore because he doesn't like the editorial stuff from DC and Marvel. So he basically created this company, though the company got bought up by DC, and Alan Moore is basically very mad at that because that's Alan Moore. He's always mad at everything. Yeah, so look for him. Now, one of the big plot threads of this book is that these 4 cannot be separated from each other more than a mile. If they do, they freaking get nearly die. So basically, they travel with like T-Spear stuff. They get their own kind of temper-based operations. This book is just nothing more than pure fun. It's almost like basically whatever was planned for New Challengers. It's like that book. It's like this book is very similar to that, except that this is basically 4 heroes. Now you might be thinking, okay, if this is similar to the Fantastic Four, which characters fit which character? Well, Plastic Man obviously fits the mold for Mr. Fantastic, and a little bit of the Human Torch due to his, being goofy and the fact he has Mr. Fantastic, some power of Mr. Fantastic. Rex, the Thing, obviously. Mr. Terrific, I'd say he basically forms place of Reed Richards in the case of scientific matters. Phantom Girl, kind of Sue Storm, kind of, mostly. But this book is pure fun. I love it. I give this book a 10 out of 10. Yeah, if you're curious to who replaced Ivy Reyes after issue 3, it is actually about 3 different artists. You have Joe Bennett, the guy who did the Immortal Hulk book, Jose Lewis, and Evan Doc Steiner. And here you hear Mr. Terrific in his fair play costume. Yes, I love the fact that he basically backed this thing. Now here's a fun fact about Michael Holt, aka, actually I believe it's called Terrific Tech, I believe the name of his company was. If you're curious though, who the heck created Michael Holt, aka Mr. Terrific? This might surprise you. John Ostrander created him back in the late 1990s. As a matter of fact, he showed up during the last year of his beautiful Spectre run. Yeah, that's when he first showed up. Metamorpho was a creation of Bob Hale, who first showed up back in the 60s. You might be thinking, what about Plastic Man? Creation in the 40s. Like in the case of Metamorpho's creators, long dead. I believe this is supposed to be Phantom Girl lead superheroes. Yeah, it's Phantom Girl. Who created Phantom Girl, I might ask? Let me look that up on here. Not that one. Nope. Okay, Phantom Girl is a creation of Gerry Siegel and Jim Moody. Yep, that's who basically created her. Yeah, Tom Strong, like I mentioned, Alan Moore creation with Chris Spruce. Yeah, this is kind of weird, particularly. Like, it's odd, though, the fact DC decided to add him part of their continuity. Yeah, it is by far one of the most baffling things. Now, American Best Comics, mind you, like, creation of Alan Moore, what the fuck, 10 years ago, actually, like, 12 years ago, but it was a comic that published, well, aside from Thomas Strong, guess which our famous comic book was actually published by this company and was adapted for a movie? A movie with Sean Connery called The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Yep. So, yeah, you got to thank Alan Moore for creating Thomas Strong and A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, that was probably his most prolific book he worked on aside from Tom Strong. Yeah. This book, they also went into a version. There's a little bit of elements here of. It's almost like this book, Jeff Lemire is taking stuff from the Metamorpho comics, a little bit with the Orb of Ra, and there's a little bit here with Phantom Girl, not much. Though apparently she's from present day, not from the future, which is for some strange reason. I mean, I enjoy every aspect of this book. It's just so pure fun. And here's the strange thing, though. You might be asking, have these 4 characters prior to this book served on the same team together? In the case of these 4 characters prior to this book, nope. Metamorpho has only been part of 2 different groups over the years. This is by far his 3rd group he's been part of the Outsiders, he's part of the Justice League, and that's it. Plastic Man, 700 Victory, I believe he's part of the All-Star Squadron, the Justice League, obviously, and that's it. Michael Holt, 2 different organizations, the JSA and Checkmate. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Though I gotta at least give high praise, like I said, high praise to the artist for putting him in the more familiar Mr. Terrific costume. Not that weird alpha he wore from his solo book, which continued wearing even after the book ended. Yeah. Now, I do have the final trade here, but before I get my chance to review that, I'm going to try to do all these 4 trades in order because the series is so good. It is sad this book ended after only 30 issues. And it was also really strange, though. Jeff Lemire was not the only writer of this book. Nope. As a matter of fact, about a little over half of this book he leaves. For reasons completely unexplained. Yeah, by issue 12 he's gone. Yeah, he's just gone. Don't know why he left. And he got replaced with the current artist the current writer who just did Superman Batman. No, but Superman, it was Batman Superman who did the previous line for the book before it became the was founded by Mark Waid. Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Single review. I wasn't going to Comic Corner, but I really want to get the Great Job with you out of the way first. Then over there, Comic Corner. Yep, that was quite interesting. Okay, this video. Bye.